3 years. Thank you for remembering to do recording. I've been at SHPE now for just over 3 years. Before my time at SHPE, I've actually was in higher education. So I had 12 years in higher education before SHPE. I worked in a variety of community colleges as a faculty member in STEM, as well as on student services side, so academic advisor and different pieces too. And then I want to hand it over to Anna to introduce herself as well.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Patrick. I am a member of the membership team, the manager of member and chapter relations here at SHPE. And I am very excited to be here with you guys. I probably emailed at some point. So I'm the face to those membership codes and whatever questions you have about SHPE Connect. So I have been a SHPE for 2 years next month, and I overall have experience. The bulk of my professional experience has been in the nonprofit space, as you can see there. I also have been an adjunct Spanish instructor at a local community college here where I live. And you see the pictures of my sons right there, so you can get to see a little bit about me. I'm originally from Panama, so Spanish is my first language. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I don't know if you have any questions about me later, or, for me, I'm available to help you. And I will be coming back on to continue the presentation. So thank you.
And someone asked me if we will share a recording in the presentation. Everything that we have today will get shared out to you guys afterwards. So if you have to hop early, please do. So I know the next thing here. So, and are you gonna take us away here? Yep.
Yes. I'm back. So besides Ashley and myself as the core members of the membership team, small but mighty team, we do have some of our colleagues that help us be points of contact, liaisons to different member segments at our organization. And as you saw a few minutes earlier, Ashley is our undergraduate members point of contact, as well as RVP support, mainly the RVP point of contact, and overall management of the membership department. I do handle the general membership experience, as well as being the point of contact for your regional student representatives and chapter operations as well, along with Ashley. We have Dinah Martinez, our colleague that is a point of contact for our regional graduate representatives and our graduate members. Fernando Hinojosa, who used to handle chapter operations about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and is now head of our pre-college programming. And so he is the main point of contact for our SHPE junior members, as well as our regional junior representatives. And we have our colleague Susan Arnold Christian, who is over our professional services programming, and she is the point of contact for professional members and supports with the RVP monthly meetings. We could not do the work that we do with our chapters and our chapter leaders without your support. Your guidance is key in having successful chapters, and we very thankful for your support. And we offer you, in addition to resources and anything that we can do for you, if you have an idea, we like to implement it if possible. We like to show our appreciation to you via a free SHPE professional and or associate membership, and free registration to our signature SHPE events, including the coveted National Convention tickets. And as you may or may not realize, we are celebrating 50 years this year, and that is upcoming in October. I'll be talking about that a little bit in more length and as we progress the presentation, but I do want to let you know that is available to you. If you have questions about how to sign up for membership, how to enroll as an advisor on SHPE Connect, or you're having trouble registering for convention at the complimentary rate, just shoot me an email at membership@shpe.org, and I'd be happy to help you. All right. So we like to talk about this slide. I like to talk about this slide a lot because I run these numbers a lot. We have grown quite a bit as an organization. And I won't bore you with too much data, but just know that compared to last year's fiscal year, or the 23 fiscal year to the 24 fiscal year, we grew from about 14,000 members to almost 20,000. And that has been a tremendous growth. And we are thankful to you for your support in that. You had a hand in making that happen as a chapter leader and making sure your chapters were successful. They spread the word, more members joined. They wanted to experience that great collaboration and success that our chapter leaders and chapter members experience. We have we ended the fiscal year with about 314 active chapters. We have a lot more than that established, but those are our active chapters, meaning they had the membership, they were doing activities, etc. We have there for you to take a look, our gender breakdown, membership type. I will say that we are growing in the gender breakdown. Our female membership is gaining ground, not as fast as we'd like, but we're working towards that. So we have our SHPTinas that are going to help you in those efforts, or help us in those efforts. And if you have any questions about that, we can certainly connect you. Our membership type, no surprise, our undergraduate members have been and continue to be the majority of our membership segment. However, our professionals are not too far behind, and they are gaining ground as well. And as we figure out ways to start to offer benefits to them and to make their membership experience better, we'll continue to see those numbers grow. And as our undergraduates become professionals, and they stay with us, those numbers will continue to grow as well. And as far as our top majors, engineering, of course, has always been towards the top, and computer science in the last 2-3 years has overtaken that first spot. So some interesting data for you. Milestones. Okay, so the first milestone that we would like to highlight, and is the one that is at the top of mind right now, because we are in 2024 celebrating our 50 years. Is that we are a nonprofit that has grown and progressed over 50 years, and we continue to do so. We're already thinking about what the next 50 years will look like. So that will give you an indication of how excited we are about our future as an organization, and how proud we are of how far we've come. 20,000 members. So you saw that number at 19,714 at the close of the fiscal year. I'm not officially saying it because marketing hasn't released it yet, but we have hit our 20,000 members. We are way beyond that. So anyway, you heard it here first. We are 20,000 plus members and more than 314 active chapters. We are proud of having awarded about $5 million in scholarships since 2018, thanks to the support of our various partners. And we've conducted over 6,500 interviews at our various conventions. And so we are proud of the connections and networking opportunities and career opportunities that we are offering our members at our events and through our programming. All right. So if you are subscribed to SHPE Nation, you know that you hear from us every week. If you want to hear from us in other ways, through other mediums, here are all the QR codes that you can scan, your choice. We are on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter. So if any of those are your preferred sources of information or connection with our organization, please feel free to follow us on one or all. And you can also sign up for text if that is something that you prefer. And then, of course, SHPE Nation. Out of all of these, they're all great. I would say SHPE Nation gives you kind of like the more comprehensive look at what's happening. So if you had to make a choice for one, although I encourage you to follow all, I would say that SHPE Nation is probably the best bet there for you to get all of your information in one place. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Ashley.
Thank you guys. So just some high level updates, what we have coming for you at SHPE. So again, just celebrating that we've hit the 20,000 member milestone, which is incredible. I know that you guys have heard this. It's the biggest piece of feedback we get year in and year out. So our CRM, our membership database, is hopefully, fingers crossed, everyone think happy thoughts for me. We're really hoping that project, that tech project in particular, we're hoping to have something brand new and in your hands, and in the hands of our members, by next fiscal year. So keep an eye out on that. I know as chapter advisors, your opinions, your thoughts of what that could and should look like are very important to us. So we definitely will be looking at you guys for feedbacks, and we will, as we get closer to launching, be doing specific training sessions with you guys. So, but just excited to say that that's finally on the horizon. We did send out an email. Susanna sent out an email early this fall, late summer, that we are putting our RLDCs or spring events on pause, to take a moment to step back and really think about what the next step looks like, how we should be serving our student leaders, our members, and what the best path forward with that is. And so right now it's on pause. We aren't stopping them forever. We're just taking that moment to really dig in and think about what the future of those events should look like to be the best value add for our members. Something that's really exciting is we're actually going to do twice a year applications for our scholarships going starting this year. So you will see communications here shortly, but we will have for spring awards an application coming out in October. So keep an eye out for that. But for students who may be changing majors or changing institutions or deciding to start attending classes in the spring, this is an amazing opportunity for them to take advantage of that scholarship funding that we have available. And we are also looking at partnering with Last Mile Education Fund to do some all-in relief or emergency fund for our students as well. So just wanted to have that on everyone's radars. You guys will get some official announcements about those shortly, but just exciting things, just knowing that we are really prioritizing and trying to figure out how we can decrease barriers for our students and really ensure their success. So the one piece, as I think about you all as chapter advisors, and the one piece that we're still trying to help our students navigate is the chapter finance question. So kind of three important things that are important for your knowledge base as chapter advisors. Is just helping you have that institutional knowledge. And so helping your understand how SHPE can give money to your chapter. So for some people, for some chapters, it has to go to their foundation. We can send money to their foundation and it funnels to the chapter. Other chapters have individual bank accounts. Some chapters have very different ways, especially in the community college space. I've learned that there's very different mechanisms for us to get money. And so why we need that and why that's important is if your chapter wins a prize from SHPE National, if regional leaders sponsor your chapter for something, we need and want to get that money to your chapters. So just as your responsibility is just knowing how I can pay you, essentially. And as we get funding this year, I've reached out to several chapter advisors, and that's a piece that they're working on exploring. So just preemptively, if you don't already know how I can send money to your chapter, take a moment and reach out to your student orgs and clubs office or whomever it needs to be to just figure out what that looks like for your chapter. So chapters do need what we call bill.com accounts to receive a check or direct deposit. And there's a lot of questions around the bill.com, but it really comes down to that is what we need for auditing purposes because we're a nonprofit. Essentially, it's ensuring that we're sending money to our chapters and not just anybody, right? We need to be, tracking where money is going out of our. So that's that process for us. Another thing that we have is a chapter pass-through. And so if you ever have a company or a partner as your students are fundraising and they do require a 501c3 designation for donation, they can send that money to us, to our finance department, and essentially we'll then give that money to your chapter via bill.com. So some chapters have gone through the painstaking process to get their own 501c3 status. It's possible, it's just the reporting requirements are pretty strenuous. So we always make the offers that if we can help lend that process and help support the payment process in particular, just let us know and we're happy to help with that. Just reach out to chapters@ship.org and we'll put that email address here in the chat for you guys. But if you ever need that chapter passed through, if they ever get company funds that needs to go through us first, we can definitely do that. I encourage chapters as much as possible to have a chapter. Oh, I just saw a question here in the chat. How long does it take for the funds to get from the student chapter from SHPE? That part, it really depends. So there's moving pieces. So the first is that the chapter has a bill.com set up. It's a very easy process, but sometimes can take a little while. So as long as the bill.com is set up and the funders are giving us the dollars, then it is less than usually 2 business weeks for us 2 business weeks, 10 business days for us to get that money into the student account. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. And then, so I encourage all chapters to have bank accounts if possible. I know some states that's not possible for their chapter or their chapters, but just making sure as much as possible that they have a bank account, that just makes the process a little easier. One thing that we did notice last year is noticing that the handoff of bank accounts can sometimes get confusing. So I encourage chapter advisors to be on that signature card for bank accounts as much as possible, because you're that consistent face between transition of leaderships. And so that way you can always be that one person. So what we have happened so often is so people forget the process to transfer bank accounts between chapter leaders and succession. And then all of a sudden they've already gone, graduated, and started their jobs. And if you haven't changed names on a bank account, you have to do it in person. And so just be aware of that. And it is showing my internet connection is unstable. So I'm gonna, so before I go into chapter resources, does anyone have any question about that chapter finance slide real quick? All right. So next topic for you guys is chapter resources. And so we have spent a lot of time really building out our chapter resources page. And so the chapter report or resources page is going to have all kinds of resources. So I'm highlighting a few here, but you're going to see the chapter reports. There'll be guidelines there, rubrics, templates, chapter management tool. Essentially everything that a chapter needs in terms of chapter reporting is there. There's also the NILA handbook. So whether or not your chapter leaders joined us in this summer for the NILA events, that handbook is available for everybody on our website. The recordings, we have also worked really hard this year to create a series of YouTube videos that are going to give best practices on chapter leadership, chapter operations, so fundraising, how to run a meeting, different pieces like that to set them up for success. And so I encourage you all as well to explore our chapter resources page to understand what resources are available for our students as well. But we have tried hard to add every resource that we think our students need. But on that same note, we always are looking for additional feedback. So if there's ever something that you're like, our student needs this template or our student needs this sort of support, let us know so we can create something, because it's likely not just your students, your chapters that are going to need that additional support. So just let us know, but we'll put that chapter resources page there in the chat as well. And then I did get a question from Jorge in the chat where we can see what financial resources are available. Can you help me understand a little bit more about what you mean about that question so I can answer it? And if you're able to come off mute, if you wanted to say it to explain, that would be helpful.
Yeah, the question is, you just talk about how the SHPE can make the resources available to chapters. are there any common fund sources that chapters can apply to, or is all
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So we don't have like a centralized funding fund through our SHPE National. However, the regional leaders do have regional budgets that a lot of times will go to support various chapter activities. And so what I do encourage is that your chapter leaders are very close, as well as you guys are engaged and close with your chapter with regional leaders, and regional leaders are supporting and helping jumpstart various initiatives. And that's largely their role too, is understanding and kind of being close to our chapter leaders in that space and helping support. So does that answer your question, Jorge?
Yeah, so that would be that the meeting that we have for Region 6 at the National Convention would be the
Yep.
place. Okay.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then JP, I see a hand raised. Can I answer a question?
Yeah, so following up on Jorge's question, so
Yep.
if there, just like you said, right? So he's asking about like resources available for chapters at the national level, and then you followed up with like meet and get to know your regional representative. Does the regional representative have also like a place on the website or a place where we can go
Yes, yep.
find out what types of resources they have? That's my
Yep. So I would say is that we have, I'll link that in here too, where you can find the information on your chapter. But I would say is that as long as you know what region you're in, you can always reach out to your regional vice president. So it's going to be, the email is RVP and then your region number at ship.org. So if you said your region 6 would be RVP6@ship.org, region 1, there we go. I should have guessed that with your background. But whichever number you are, you can always reach out to them as well. They're a wonderful resource for you guys, and absolutely take the time to connect with them as much as possible too.
And Ashley, another quick question follow up, because everybody keeps saying chapter, 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 right? And so I just want to make sure that they're not making a distinction between like student chapters and professional chapters. Is that true?
So this is for chapter advisors, which are generally advising student chapters. So that's kind of what the content is geared towards. But absolutely, this information is true for professional chapters as
So
well.
I'm advising two chapters. I'm advising the
Okay.
professional chapter and the Stanford.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, that's great to know. Thank you for doing that. There are not many advisors in the professional space, so that's amazing. Any other questions before I hop? And thanks, and Anna has put into our chat here just the chapter resources page. I'm gonna pull that up here and just do a quick, I'll change my share. Give me a second here. All right, so a couple of things we alluded to that I want to pull in and just highlight. So we can see again that chapter leader workbook is here, that series of chapter leader videos. Again, I think pop into the playlist, see the topics, just know what's there so we can always point our students there. We've also kicked off monthly chapter leader training this year. And so as the recordings are available, the one that happened this week was marketing recruitment. We'll get that linked out and on here too. But if you have your chapter leaders, please encourage them to join us for the rest of these, or you guys as well. It's a great refresher if you guys have been in the chapter or in here for a while. We'll talk a lot more about National Chapter Program, but I'm going to pop down here to the very bottom. So apologies for quick scrolling, but here at the important links, that's where all of those different pieces that are going to be helpful, Ship for You presentations, if you're applying to be a chapter operations, different tips, templates, all of those resources are available on that page for you as, or for your chapter leaders. And let me go back into our presentation here. So any questions on chapter resources before I go into the next part? All right, thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate the feedback. All right, guys. So chapter resources. So we also have worked on, thanks to the advice of our chapter advisor committee, we've worked on building out a chapter advisor resource page as well. And so it's going to be some key links for you guys. So as chapter advisors, there's going to be links to our marketing resources. Some of you may or may not know that you have chapter logos specific for your chapter. If they're not on there, just let us know and we'll get them updated. It'll take you again right into that chapter resources page. And then the Familia calendar is also linked on there as well. So if you guys are ever curious and you want to see all of the different things that are happening at SHPE, that's a great way to do that. And I think you can even subscribe and add it to your calendars too. So just some pieces there. But again, as we build out and as our chapter advisors, anything that resource that you see that you need that we don't have for you, please let us know. We are working fast and furiously to have an official chapter advisor handbook for you all to help support you as chapter advisors as well. So just be aware that that's a work in progress for you all as well. All right. So next big topic for you guys to learn about today is our national chapter program. This has undergone some changes from prior years, but between last year and this year is pretty consistent. So there'll be 4 quarterly check-ins, which are a pulse check for your chapter and really enables us to get some real-time feedback. It's going to ask, they're really created to be relatively quick. It'll be 30 to 45 minutes. Where your chapter for them to complete. And we do ask that every chapter do all 4. So that first one is going to be due here in a little under a month on October 15th. But it enables us to get information about your chapter. They're going to say, I need help with marketing. I need help with recruitment. It'll help us understand what needs they have so I can connect them into the right resources specifically. So just again, keep an eye out for you guys. First check-in is October 15th. Our next one will be in January, and that includes optional reports, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And then April, and then in June. So every quarter, and we have a quantitative section. So it's going to ask, how many events did your chapter host? How many community events specifically? How many parents did you work with? How many K-12 students did you? How many mentors, mentees? So that quantitative section is really important for us in terms of reporting and helping us determine content for NILA and chapter leader training pieces too. So the questions are all on our website in the chapter resources page. So as you tell your chapters, so it's not a shock for them, just make sure that they revisit that information and see what they need to be submitting here shortly. So chapter management tool, for those of you who are not familiar with it, we lovingly call it our CMT. It has a tool that's been built after years and years of iterations of looking at what successful chapters are doing and learning and helping create a tool for all of our chapters to use. Now, in the past, it was very much this is the tool and you make no changes to it, you just put information into it. But my approach is that it should be fit and used to what your chapter needs. Now, don't go and delete entire sections, but if you want to start tracking add another page and start tracking other stuff on there, all the better. It is meant to be a multi-purpose tool for your students to use to track and use. So the first page of it is a SWOT analysis. So thinking about what their chapter, their goals are for the year, going through and walks them through. And we do have resources on that chapter resource page to talk them through how to do the SWOT analysis. And then it gives them time to reflect on what did and didn't go well the year before, setting their goals for the coming year, and then creating their plan. And so it's just that intentionality of showing us, here's what we've learned, and here's what we're going to do going forward. So that template lives as well on the chapter resources page. My successful chapters are working on this as a chapter leadership team realistically over the summer as they transition between leadership teams. And then they're going to be bringing this into every single board meeting and updating it. So they're saying, here's what's happened, here's the events we've held, and doing that reflective piece as well to learn and discuss what they're learning from those events in real time instead of waiting until the very end. The other part of our national chapter program are reports. And so reports do no longer require letters of recommendation, and reports are optional but encouraged. So reports are going to be required if someone wants to be considered for a chapter award that are presented during the national meeting at national convention. And so chapter reports are 8 pages total. There's a template, very detailed template, instructions, and I will say we will do a webinar on them, office hours on them. My goal is for every one of our chapters to be a chapter, and they all 100% can be. And so I am here to support them in that entire process. I offer myself to do pre-reads on them before submission deadlines. But they have all of the tools. It's just a matter of them tracking and then again going through that process of thinking about here's our goals, here's our planning, and how did things go. For chapter awards, I am not looking, it doesn't matter if you're a big or a small chapter. It doesn't matter to me if you have 1 event or 45 events. What I'm really looking for is that process of planning with intention as it relates to the SHPE mission, and then taking it and thinking about it as a continuous improvement process about what did we do, how can we make this better, and what did we learn from this. So that's what I'm really looking for with those chapter reports. And then of course, following instructions makes my life easier, as you all know, when we get to grade 60 to 100 more of these. So any questions on check-ins or reports before we go into the next couple of upcoming events for you all? All right, Anna, you're back up.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. So let's talk about upcoming events, as Ashley mentioned. We are together here during our fall meeting, and we sincerely hope that you join us for our spring meeting, for which we already have a date, February 28th, 2025, and you have your QR code there to register for the meeting. If you'd like to you just know you're going to join us, go ahead and register. That is going to be 1 to 2 Central Time and via Zoom, just like we're doing here. So it will be covering updates, anything new that we have launched or shared, and as well as recapping some of this information for our newer members of the chapter advisors team. All right, so we talked a little bit earlier about NILA, and I'm sure most of you are already familiar with NILA, but just for the benefit of those of us that are not as familiar, NILA stands for the National Institute of Leadership Advancement, and we divide that into 2 parts. The CCLP, which stands for Certified Chapter Leader Program, and that is done virtually. We already have our dates for next year, which are July 18th and 19th, and that is open to all chapter leaders. So if your chapter has the standard for leadership positions, your president, your vice president, your treasurer, and your secretary, have them all come and join us. This is a space for them to get new tools and develop their leadership skills. And we follow what we call our SHPE Teaches SHPE model. And we invite chapters that have shown great success in certain areas throughout the years or throughout the past year based on chapter check-ins and reports and how we have measured their success, to come and speak about an area of expertise of theirs and share it with their fellow chapter leaders. But that is also open to larger executive boards that include, director of membership, outreach, recruitment, and marketing. We have larger chapters that have a lot of positions in their executive board, and they're all invited to join us at CCLP. The part 2 of NILA is our President Summit. That one takes place in person, and it's going to take place in Chicagoland in Illinois next year, August 7th and 9th. And that one is open to chapter presidents and 1 vice president from their chapter. I know some chapters have 2, may have 2 vice presidents, an internal or an external, for example. We can work with the chapters to determine, which one of those 2 positions will attend. Generally, though, it is open to president and 1 vice president. You as a chapter advisor are also invited to attend these events. And as I mentioned earlier, you have free registration, complimentary registration to these signature events as a chapter advisor and as a thank you for your service and your support. All right, so National Convention, I talked a little bit about it earlier, and that is upcoming October 30th through November 3rd in Anaheim, California. the birthplace of SHPE. And so we're going back to where we started to celebrate our 50 years. And we will all be there, celebrate. We certainly hope that you join us. If you haven't registered yet, you still have the opportunity to do so. Again, as a chapter advisor, you have the ability to register via a complimentary registration. You have the different pricing structures there. So for your benefit as well, if you get questions from your students, although they are welcome to visit our page on the website, all the information is there. They can also reach out to membership@ship.org if they have any issues, with their membership and trying to register. I can help them troubleshoot that. We have September 15th was a deadline for early bird, so that already passed. So we are on that second line of pricing. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out. And we do have some of our lovely colleagues from the events department here joining us right now. And when we have a chance, we'll give them an opportunity to address any questions you may have about National Convention. Still on the topic of National Convention, here you have just a list of hotels on our housing block that we have available to you and students, any member that is joining us at convention. So you see the different options. This is also on the page for our National Convention registration, and all the information is there in case you want to have a little bit more time, and exploring that information.
This is Linda Parker out of Dallas.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
wanted to ask if we're putting in our information for the hotel room block, it's not the same as confirming it, or is it the same as confirming it?
I'm going to pass that question on to our friends, Alejandra and/or Nicole.
I'll take that one. Hi.
Hi there.
When you put your information into the housing portal, if you're just doing a single room reservation, it goes right through, it submits it to the system. The system then will pass that on to the hotel. And you'll just do, it's kind of like a one-to-one transaction. You will also see on there, hey, I need to do a sub block because I have our whole chapter coming. We need more rooms. In that case, you will get a link that is provided to you to go in. You'll be able to monitor all the people who are within what we call a sub block. You'll also get a link, so either they can all go in and do their reservations, or you as the coordinator, you can put everyone's name in, and you can also then provide, like, if it's going to be on one credit card or everyone's individual cards.
So typically I have not, even though I'm the advisor, we don't necessarily pay for all of their hotels. So the students are required to pay for their own hotels. I mean, they do have fundraising. We do give them some money, but obviously not enough to cover everybody's hotels. So as the advisor, I do have the ability to go in and do a room block, but I'd have to be prepared to pay for it, correct?
Correct. It will ask you for a card at the time that you do a sub block. That card is not charged. It's basically just holding your place as a sub block. Then once you have the link, and that will only be a link just to your sub block, you can share that with all the attendees that are going in, and then they can go in, book their room based on what day they're arriving, and then they will then put in their credit card at that time, and their card will be charged for the actual reservation.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And just to note that, as Anna said, that all of these hotels are potentially in our block, and there have been a few adjustments there. Once you go into our actual travel portal, it recognizes in real time what we have available and what we don't. So that way, some of these have already sold out, for example. So it'll give you the price, as well as it will give you the opportunity to see what inventory is left.
Thank you, Nicole.
Sure.
We do have a question, and it's from Ana Lazarin at Wichita State, and it says, is it possible to pay for a registration bulk invoice with 2 credit cards due to the card amount limits?
I believe finance does allow for that. That's a conversation to have with finance who issues the invoice.
Thank you, Anna, for the question. That we can exactly. Ashley just posted the email address, and you can reach out to them with that specific question, and feel free to copy membership, and I can help make sure that that is followed through. All right. Continuing our exciting national convention talk. We have here an overview of our agenda. We have a lot going on, and I know we could spend a long time speaking about everything that we have happening. We do have some highlighted, items for you. Registration does open on Wednesday at 8 a.m. And, career fair, we know that that is a very important topic for our students. That is Friday and Saturday. Competitions will happen on Thursday, and we have our closing ceremony on Saturday, which you do not want to miss. We are celebrating our 50 years, and we are going all out. I know Nicole and team have put in a lot of hours, and we'll continue to do that to make sure that this event is as successful and fun for everyone that is attending. So we appreciate your support. But again, the agenda is located on the webpage on our website, and you can find all the information there, and you can have the time to really peruse and identify which tracks you want to attend, which sessions will be beneficial to you as a chapter advisor. There is a chapter advisor track, and so you'll be able to attend some specific tracks to you, as well as perhaps help out some of your chapter members identify which sessions would be helpful to them. So.
And I just want to interject, this year we do have a closing general session, which will be on Saturday, right after the Career Fair and Graduate School Expo closes. That is different than our closing, actually we're calling it our closing fiesta, which will be in the evening on that Saturday. So 2 separate things. And that closing fiesta, that is included in your registration. So whatever registration type you have, your ticket into that fiesta is actually your convention badge.
Thank you, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, another question for you. Hola, can we bring our significant partners to the closing ceremony? Happy to purchase a ticket for them.
Right now, we don't sell tickets because we are anticipating 15,000 people overall, and the room doesn't quite hold that. So at this time, for the closing celebration, we're not really able to add in a spouse ticket for that. Sorry about that.
Thank you. And I think I'm going to go ahead and hand it off really quickly here to our Susana, our CEO, who has just joined us and would like to pop in and say hello to everyone here. So Susana.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to come into this conversation. Nicole, thank you for your leadership on the convention. We are, 39 days away, or 38 days away. Exceptional planning, and the work of the team is incredible. Thank you all for your engagement, and I'm looking forward to seeing every one of you at the convention. And so thank you for having me, and I'm just going to continue to listen in.
Thank you, Susana. Happy to have you here. We're going to get back to Nicole. Nicole, we have another question for you. Very popular today, Nicole, as usual. Any advice on tickets were very hard to get into for certain events last year. And so any advice or any way of getting at least more access to these events for advisors?
Yes, it was very difficult. As we grow and our growing pains that we have right now, all of our ticketed events, we do have a portion of those events with tickets set aside, and they are first come, first serve. And for some of those luncheons, for example, we have a portion of tickets set aside for people to get from their sponsors. So on our luncheons, for the sponsor industry lunches on Friday, for example, let's say the room holds 300 people, then the sponsor has 150 tickets that they're handing out. That could be through their workshops, it could be through their booth. There's various ways that they are doing it. That gives the sponsor the opportunity to invite some people they specifically would like to have in there. All the rest of those are standby line entry. Anything that we have ticket to, I don't have a way to do access for advisors only, but I can talk with Anna and Ashley after this meeting, and maybe they can follow up with you if we can offer that. But right now we don't have that built in.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, so we have some important links for our national convention, and these will be accessible to you once we share out the presentation. You'll be able to get some quick access to FAQs, registration, the agenda, and resume upload, which is obviously very needed for our participants in the career fair portion of our national convention. And we do have some more questions here coming in. So the question is, Nicole, from what time to what time is the closing ceremony, or the fiesta, should I say? I think they mean the fiesta.
Yeah, the fiesta starts at 7 p.m. that evening. I'm actually going to type it in so in case someone needs to read it. The road to Philly, which is our closing general session, will start at 3 p.m.
Thank you, Nicole. Now we have, how would we find out who our sponsors are? And separately, is it too late to register to table if we would like to recruit students into our graduate programs?
Let's see, if we would like, is it too late to register to table? I'm not sure I understand. Do you mean like a booth?
Sorry, I wrote that question. So yes, in terms of a booth, like I know last year we worked, we didn't do SHPE, but we worked at NSB conference and we were recruiting. So I was curious to do that and wanting to do that at SHPE for our graduate program, if it was an option, depending, I guess, how much it would cost to also do a table. And the first question was really about, you mentioned sponsors, so I wasn't sure about it.
So if you go into our agenda, there's a few different ways you can filter by sessions, tracks, but also if there is a session that is sponsored, it will have the title and then it'll say sponsored by and by that particular company. So the only time we have some government entities or our research labs, it may say presented by or something slightly different because they cannot use the word sponsor. But if anything is attached to some kind of company, it will say in the title. I will just give you a heads up. Some of our titles are a little bit long, so you might have to click on the actual sessions just to see the full amount. But we did our best to try to make sure and put that into the title when you're searching. And you can also go into the search bar and just put a company name if you're looking for a particular company also. And then the last place you can find it, and I know this is many places, if you're looking on particular companies, when you go to their virtual booth profile on our website, it will also tell you right there, this company is presenting at this session, maybe this luncheon. So whatever they are tied to, it's also identified there on their booth profile. And then to answer your second part, we do have a university area. I don't know if there are any booths left at this time. Last I heard they were full, but then I think they might have opened up some slots. So I'll drop the email here, but at exhibits@ship.org, they're the team that can help you with that.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Nicole. And thank you, Terrence. Nice to see you. We haven't talked in a little bit.
Yes, likewise. I'm going to email you after this too.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready, my friend.
Okay.
And next we have a question from Cedric. All right, it says, some feedback my students had last year were the long lines for the breakout sessions. Is there anything different they can expect this year?
That is a great question. And keeps me up at night because I'm trying to make sure everyone has the best experience that they can. This year we did make sure that some of our sessions are probably our more popular ones. We tried to make sure that they weren't all necessarily at the same time or right next door to each other. But this year, we do have a whole team of people who are helping to regulate people in the hallways, people in the sessions. So we are doing our best to make sure that there are not as many long lines. The good news is some of the issues we saw last year were very specific to Salt Lake City and just had to do with the building design. Anaheim has a very different design, so we are able to monitor lineups for things in a better way, I'll say, hopefully. And it should be a different experience for them when it comes to that. Every lineup that we have, including for hospitality suites, the career fair, we do have specific plans for all of those lineups. So, and those will be shared on our website, in our FAQ, as well as we have a attendee know before you go, and we'll be talking through that with all of the attendees. So hopefully we're trying to get the message out ahead of time, and then we'll also have people helping be human directionals on site.
Thank you, Nicole. And I don't see any new questions. I did want to mention one more thing on this slide, and is regarding resume upload. The deadline for that is October 11th. So if your students have not yet entered uploaded their resumes into that particular section, please remind them, if you can, to do so. It will help them gain visibility to the hiring companies that will be joining us.
I have a quick question, Anna.
Oh, sorry, just to tag on to the resume part, we do have the upload to our online career center, but in addition to that, right now going on virtually is our resume review. And I strongly encourage you to send everyone to our virtual review. They can sign up for an appointment. They get to meet with someone on Zoom. We will have some in-person appointments on that first day, Wednesday, that they'll be able to sign up for, but they will be limited. So we will not be able to handle everyone. So the more that you can push them to do our virtual resume review would be the best.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. All right. So I think
JP had a question.
Okay, let's see. Go ahead, JP.
Yeah, Anna. So Region 1 is having a we call it Bomba Blast, and it's usually a small summit where we invite about 200 students, and it's all in preparation to help them with mock interviews and resume reviews. And so our event is going to be on the 12th of October, and so I'm wondering if the deadline is 11 on the 11th, could they still submit it the day after? Because they're going to so we get professionals and we get students and we pair them up and they go through different stages to sort of practice all these interviews and practice working on their resume. So we think that there's going to be improvements at this event for the resumes. And so we'd like to be able to have them submit it right after that. What is the possibility of that happening? Or is it a hard date?
Nicole, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know. So I'll answer that one. Basically, we do put that deadline to try to make sure everyone's getting in there. That doesn't mean that companies will not see resumes after that date, but those companies who have particular access, they're trying to get in there because many of our companies will actually comb through all those resumes to set up interview appointments before even getting on site. So if you have them upload it, say on the 12th or even the 13th, the day after your event, they will still have access to that. The companies will, but I think there's also a contest that's going on. So those who want to be eligible for the contest have to be in by that date. Don't hold me to that because I don't have the exact date in front of me, but I do know the companies do have access to those resumes at any time. I think they just pull like the initial ones and give them the first access.
So maybe they could submit
them a date.
Maybe they could submit them by the deadline, and then if they want to make updates to it, they can submit it after, like an update.
Absolutely, they can.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Great question. Thank you, JP, and thank you, Nicole. Do we have any more questions regarding National Convention? No? All
We
right.
have a little bit of information. Our advisor committee is joining us to talk a little bit about the track sessions they've been working so diligently to create and launch for you all. It's great content. So I'll hand it over to Anna here just to talk for a moment about what their plans are for anyone attending convention.
Hi, thank you, Ashley. Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Ana Lazarin. I am at Wichita State University in Kansas, and I am the chair for the Advisor Track Committee this year. I've been part of the committee for about 3 years now. And so we have 5 sessions planned for advisors this year at National Convention. We are kicking off the Advisor Track on Wednesday evening. It will be right after the opening ceremony at 6:30 p.m. So if you're running a little behind or it takes you a little longer, that's okay. So we won't start any formal introductions until around 6:45. So we know people will be coming in from opening ceremony. There will be snacks. We will have some music. Bring your dancing shoes. But it will be just an introduction to get to know each other for some open dialogue amongst each other. We might have a little dancing. We'll see. And then on Thursday morning, Ashley and Anna will be guiding us through a SHPE Advisor 101 session at 10:30 a.m. Kind of a follow-up of this meeting today. And it is a great opportunity for new and returning advisors to get new knowledge or brush up on your knowledge. Things are always changing. So get caught up on what's going on at nationals and regional level. And then we have a luncheon. We have a keynote speaker, Dr. Taylor from the University of Alabama. She will be talking about legislature and regional laws that are affecting diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, specifically how that's affecting higher education institutions. And so we will have lunch provided for that session. And then on Friday, we have 2 more sessions that will be focused on artificial intelligence, since this is like the hottest thing out there. We will have a professional panel at 2 p.m. We have a speaker from Honeywell, speaker from our sponsor, Amazon, for the Advisor Track. Amazon is sponsoring us. And we will have a professor, and I believe we'll have a 3rd professional speaker. They will share with us what their companies are doing regarding AI and what type of skill sets they're looking for in college graduates. So as you are working with your students, you can pass on some of the knowledge regarding what to do while you're still in college, to be AI ready when you get to the workforce. And then following that session at 3:30 p.m., Professor Monroe from University of Alabama will be sharing what they're doing in the classroom to prepare students for AI. So hopefully you can join us for all or any of the sessions. We are excited to see you at convention this year. And there's one more slide. I don't know if you can forward to the next one, because I know we're almost out of time. So we are looking for representatives to serve in the advisory committee. We currently don't have anyone from regions 1, 6, and 7. And we welcome any region, by the way, any region. So we meet throughout the year to discuss what are the needs of advisors, communicate with our leadership at the regional, national level, and then we also help plan the advisor track for the national convention. And so any of you who are interested in serving, joining the committee, please reach out to advisors@ship.org. Or you can reach out to Ashley or myself or Anna directly. But we would love to have more advisors join the voice for all the collegiate SHPE advisors. And that is all I have. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll pass it back to Ashley.
And there was a comment in the chat about the commitment of time.
Oh, thank you for the question. So after convention, we don't meet as often. We will meet about once a month for the first quarter. And then after that, we will start meeting about twice a month, and our meetings are 1 hour long. And as we get closer to convention, so basically September, October, we will try to meet once a week. I know like this year we're pretty ahead of schedule, so we have it on our calendar to meet once a week for the next 6 weeks, but we're actually skipping some of the weeks that we might not have a lot of work since we've been working ahead quite a bit this year. So you can be as involved as you wish to be. I know we have some members who are very involved and spend more time, and we have some members that have a lot of other commitments, so they will contribute when they can. So it's really up to you how much or how little you want to be involved as a member. But in terms of meetings, that's what it looks like throughout the year. Any other questions? So again, if you're from region 1, 6, and 7, but any region, we'd love to have you. I think that's all the questions for me.
That was it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining today. We appreciate your dedication. We could not do what we do without all of you here today. So thank you for joining us today. I hope we get to see so many of you in Anaheim. If not, I hope to see you virtually in February as well. Thank you all for joining today. It was nice to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley, could I ask you a question? I'll stay on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.